Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week, we're going to be talking about garage safety, and we'd like to thank Simon Gruber for liking and sharing the podcast. Our 13th ebook, which Cindy is finishing up, has a great chapter on gas cans and fuel stabilizers, and there's a bunch of tips for garage safety in that.
Cool.
Between 1815 and 1915, horse-drawn carriages were the most popular form of transportation. According to an article in American Heritage magazine, in 1900, Chicago had about 83,000 horses.
Wow. And
it's wild. If you look at pictures of downtown Chicago in the early 1900s, the streets are filled with horses pulling carts and carriages.
Mm-hmm.
In 1900, there were over 11,000 hansom cabs in London, along with around 50,000 horses pulling carts, buggies, and buses to transport people and goods. In New York, they had about 100,000 horses.
That's a lot.
The amount of waste and urine in the streets became a huge problem in large cities around the world. In New York City, they started creating houses in a row house style with a stoop. So you had a raised first floor, and that helped get above flooding that was a problem, and the odor of horse waste.
Gross.
Amazing, huh? I read an article where they said one 1,000-pound horse produces about 30 pounds of waste and 2 gallons of urine a day. And there's estimates of 3 to 5 million pounds of waste was being deposited on the streets every day in New York City. Can you imagine the smell?
No.
Plus, when the horses would die, they would just leave them in the street. They would just, disconnect their carts and just leave the horse there because, how are you going to move a 1,000-pound horse? And the streets were
another horse?
Right. And the streets were a breeding ground for flies and rats that would spread disease.
Yuck.
In 1900, there were only about 4,000 cars sold in the U.S. By 1912, they sold over 300,000 cars. And as people started owning cars and replacing their horse and buggy, they would use the carriage house or the barn where they used to store their carriage as a garage for the car.
Mm-hmm.
In 1908, Sears Roebuck and Company developed a mail-order portable garage. It had pre-cut lumber and all the parts, and you could set this up anywhere you wanted a garage to store your car. By 1925, an article in the Atlantic Monthly said that American real estate agents reported that a large majority of home buyers wanted a garage. The U.S. Fire Administration says garage fires can spread farther and cause more injuries and dollar loss than fires that start in other areas of your home. The U.S. averages over 6,000 garage fires a year with over $400 million in property loss. Electrical fires are the leading cause of garage fires, and the U.S. Fire Administration recommends checking your outlets, making sure they're not overloaded. Check extension cords in the garage for damage and throw out worn or damaged extension cords. Don't use an extension cord for appliances that are left on in a garage, and don't charge cordless tool batteries with an extension cord and leave them unattended. It's interesting, huh? Your extension cord should match or exceed the amp rating of any device that you're plugging into it.
Right.
Never use the inexpensive indoor extension cords with the cube ends, so the multiple plugs, as a permanent extension cord for devices you're using in your garage. They're designed only to be a temporary power source. And never use an extension cord for anything that generates heat, like a heat gun or a space heater.
Right.
If you're in a cold climate and plan on using an electric space heater to warm up the garage while you're working on projects, keep it at least 3 feet from anything combustible. Underwriters Laboratories recommends removing gas-powered lawnmowers and gas cans from your garage when you're using a space heater and anything else that has a gas motor. And also remove any containers with flammable liquids and turn off the space heater when you're not in the garage.
Right.
If you have a kerosene space heater, only use the fuel recommended by the manufacturer. Never use gas or any other fuel because it can cause a fire or even an explosion. And if you're thinking about purchasing a kerosene gas space heater, make sure it's legal in your town, because in some communities they don't allow it.
Huh.
The Insurance Information Institute warns that kerosene heaters can create indoor air pollutants that can be dangerous even in a garage. When you're storing flammable liquids like gas or kerosene, only use updated, CARB-compliant containers that are approved and labeled by UL or ASTM.
What is CARB?
CARB is the California Air Resources Board. And in fact, if you listen to our episode on gas cans and fuel stabilizers, we have a lot of information on all the new updated cans.
I'm sure it was very exciting.
It was one of our best. Cans for gas will be red in color.
Right.
Cans for kerosene will be blue, and cans for diesel are yellow.
Oh, I remember that now.
The American Petroleum Institute recommends only storing gas in updated approved containers with less than a 5-gallon capacity, and store your gas cans 50 feet away from pilot lights and any other source of ignition. So they're saying keep it out of direct sunlight, keep it away from a water heater, a furnace, or a space heater. Only refill a small engine like a mower or a snowblower when the engine is cool, because the vapors can ignite. And they're saying don't refill your small engine in your garage. Store the gasoline cans in a separate building like a shed away from your home, and any minor spills that you have should be absorbed with sawdust, paper, or rags.
Okay.
State Farm Insurance recommends not storing any flammable fuels or propane tanks in an attached garage. In Fargo, North Dakota, a 20-pound propane tank for grilling exploded inside an attached garage.
Wow.
It collapsed the garage roof, and the 2 cars parked inside were a total loss.
That's crazy.
The company AmeriGas recommends storing propane tanks for grills in a well-ventilated area away from your home. Never store propane tanks in your home or a vehicle. You should be storing your propane tanks in a shed or a covered area out of direct sunlight, or in a ventilated structure where the temperatures won't exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Organize your chemicals and keep them out of the reach of kids or pets. Paint, varnish, pool products, and other chemicals should only be stored in the original containers. Some chemicals can break down different container material and create a health hazard. And you should anchor your shelving to wall studs if you have kids or pets. You can get anchoring kits, or you can use perforated metal hanger strap and wrap it around the shelves or posts, and then anchor that into studs. A home organization study done by Moen, the faucet company, they found that the garage is the most cluttered space in a home. We got some tips from Ward Schrader. He's the co-host of HGTV's Bargain Mansions. He recommends organizing the clutter on your garage floor to help prevent a tripping hazard, and use motion detector light bulbs, and that'll light up the area when you walk near them.
Smart.
An article from the National Institutes of Health say as we age, the muscles that control our eyes' pupil size starts to weaken, and the pupils become less responsive to changes in light. They say people 60 and older need about 3 times more light to see objects comfortably and to reduce accidents. And many garages only have one overhead light with a single socket.
Right.
So an easy way to increase the brightness in your garage is to remove the light bulb and screw in a double or triple bulb socket. And now you can add 1 or 2 additional bulbs.
Well, we did that at my parents' house.
Yeah,
it really helped.
Yeah, I did it in my garage too. I would get LED bulbs with high lumens. 1100 lumens is equivalent to like a 75-watt incandescent bulb. 1600 lumens is equivalent to a 100-watt incandescent. And like for that 1600 lumen bulb, you're only using about 15 watts of energy.
Right.
And they're going to be cooler than the old incandescents. Ward warned about oily rags.
That'd be a good title for a segment. Ward's warnings.
So Ward said if you're staining wood with rags using a stain with linseed oil, or if you're using linseed oil to protect wood, the rags can spontaneously combust if you leave them wadded up in a pile.
Right.
And this is a problem with other oil-based products too. As the oil evaporates and combines with oxygen, it can generate enough heat to burst into flames.
Yeah, it's scary.
Just amazing. The National Fire Protection Association says take used rags outside to dry, either hang them up or lay them spread out on the ground, and then weigh them down so the wind can't blow them into a pile. Or you should put them into a metal container and fill it with water and liquid detergent and cover it tightly with a lid. And then call your town for proper disposal in your area.
Right.
Ward also had a tip about cat litter. He said, don't put a litter box next to your furnace. Over time, the ammonia produced by cat litter can erode your heat exchanger in your furnace and allow carbon monoxide into your home, which can be deadly. Ammonia is created by the bacterial decomposition of urea in urine, and cat urine has a high concentration of urea.
Yeah.
If you want to reduce the odor and the amount of ammonia produced, you can get cat litter with urease inhibitors or antimicrobials, and this will actually reduce the bacteria in your litter box. So Ward likes tangents too. You can check out Ward on HGTV's Bargain Mansions. You can follow him on Instagram. You can search for Ward Schrader, and this would be all one word, WARDSCHRAEDER, or you can subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's called Working with Ward.
Cool.
The University of Iowa says around 400 people a year die from carbon monoxide poisoning. They suggest when you start your car, immediately move it out of the garage and let it warm up outside so exhaust fumes don't build up in your garage. Never use a propane or charcoal grill in an attached garage, and never run a lawnmower, a snowblower, or any gas-powered engine in an attached garage. Carbon monoxide alarm requirements are going to vary depending on your town and the state.
That seems kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it's really weird. Many states have updated their requirements in 2020. You can go to kidde.com, it's KIDDE.com, and search for carbon monoxide laws, and you can find your state requirements. And I would also give my local inspector a call or your local fire department. CO alarms should be replaced every 7 years, and smoke detectors should be replaced every 10 years. The National Fire Protection Association recommends installing a CO alarm on every level of the house and in a central location outside sleeping areas. For the best protection, they recommend the alarms should be interconnected, so if one goes off, they all go off.
Right.
Read the installation instructions. You don't want to put CO alarms in dead air spaces, by doors or windows, or too close to a furnace or a stove.
Right.
And you don't want to put them in humid areas like a bathroom. You should install a heat alarm for an attached garage.
What's that?
So rather than a smoke detector, which can give off false alarms for dust and fumes in a garage, a heat alarm is just triggered depending on the temperature. And some of these can be connected to other alarms like a carbon monoxide alarm or a smoke alarm. And now if there's a problem in your garage with high heat, like a fire, then you'll be alerted inside your house. And this is a requirement in many towns now, is having a heat alarm for an attached garage.
Interesting.
To help prevent a garage fire from spreading to your home, the door from the garage into your home should have a 20-minute fire rating, and it should be self-closing. And if there's glass on the door, it should be fire rated. And you don't want to put a pet door on the door going into the garage. The door should also be checked routinely to make sure that all the seals and the weather stripping is tight, and that's going to help reduce fumes, chemicals, or carbon monoxide from seeping into your home.
Okay.
Check your local code for drywall thickness. The minimum is usually 1/2-inch drywall on the walls with all of the seams taped, and 5/8 drywall on the ceiling, although I've seen a couple towns recommend 5/8 drywall for the walls that separate the garage to the home, and 2 layers of 5/8 fire-resistant drywall on the ceiling with all the seams taped.
Really?
And yeah, amazing. And fire-resistant drywall is called Type X. And many towns now require a fire-rated attic ladder if you have access to the attic in your garage.
Interesting.
And it's good to know if you have an unfinished garage or if you're shopping for a new attic ladder. If you plan on storing fertilizers, lawn chemicals, paint products, and other chemicals in your garage, you can get a garage exhaust fan. The EPA recommends ventilation in homes to improve the indoor air quality. They're also recommending an exhaust fan for an attached garage with a 70 cubic feet per minute airflow. The World Health Organization says levels of benzene are higher in homes with attached garages. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified benzene as carcinogenic to humans. And benzene accumulates in an attached garage from gasoline, glues, adhesives, cleaning products, and paint products. And this can get drawn into your home.
Oh, lovely.
I spoke to Easy Breathe. It's the letter E, the letter Z, capital BREATHE. They have a garage ventilation system for attached garages. And this will exhaust carbon monoxide that can get trapped in your garage when you start up your car to leave or when you drive into your garage to park it.
Really?
A study done by Iowa State University said a car that started in a garage and allowed to run for 2 minutes before it was pulled out raised CO levels to 500 parts per million, and after 10 hours, CO levels were still measurable.
Wow.
Some studies recommend that garages should have an exhaust fan that runs for at least 30 minutes after starting a car to leave, and it should run for 2 hours after you pull in a car to park it in the garage.
Really?
Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Never heard of any of this.
Yeah. Easy Breathe says their exhaust system runs continuously to vent fumes from gas, paint, pesticides, fertilizers, and other toxins in your garage. So not only will it improve the air quality in your garage, it'll improve the air quality inside your home. In California, there was a garage fire, and when the fire department investigated the cause of the fire, they found that the homeowner had left the car running and a buildup of carbon monoxide was ignited by a spark, and it caused $75,000 worth of damage.
Wow.
Some top-rated carbon monoxide detectors come from Kidde, Kidde, Google Nest Protect, and First Alert. Some top-rated heat alarms come from Kidde and First Alert, and some top-rated fire extinguishers come from Kidde, First Alert, and Amerex. It's Amerex.
Do you have anything else to add?
You know, I didn't talk about garage door safety, but you can check out our garage doors episode, and we have a bunch of safety and maintenance tips. And have a fire extinguisher in your garage that's easy to get to. I would have an ABC fire extinguisher. A means it'll put out wood and paper fires. B, it'll work on flammable liquids. And C, it works for electrical fires.
Right. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, or your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you could subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 12 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fix It Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.